Hey everyone, and welcome to another quick video about Park Beyond. Yeah, yesterday night I realized that there's a new park sim game, whatever you want to call that, on the horizon, and we did a little quick video of the trailer, and already today we are pleased with some actual alpha footage from the game, and this is the coaster builder. Now, we are going to talk about the coaster builder in this video. It's a pretty short video of, I guess it is the CEO, even himself, building a rather shitty coaster, you know? I'm just, straight up saying that this is maybe not the greatest coaster in the world, but, I can say that because I'm also pretty not that much great at building coasters, but at least I know when the coaster is not that great. But you can also tell that it is a fully fledged coaster builder, and we can already see quite a bit of this area. So in order to get a good idea, I'm just going to click play real quick, and I'm going to talk you through this a little bit until my computer is able to catch up with the graphics again. So there you go. This is basically the coaster builder. We are going to talk about that in detail in a second. I'm just going to basically show you the first build in here. It's rather quick, as I said, like 2 minutes, but so you get an idea of how quickly they built the coaster, and you will definitely tell already the similarities to what you are potentially know from the early days of, Roller Coaster Tycoon World, I guess. I don't even want to talk about that game. I think it's the name you shall not name, or you shall not use. But there's a lot in this video to talk about, guys. A lot of things that I really believe are great to point out, and I've not expected to see so much that early on. So that's pretty great indeed, and we're going to talk about this just in the video. But again, as I said, let's first of all have a little look to the builder. So we are nearly done with the builder here, and then we get also some on-ride, some cool shots and stuff like that. So you get a good idea of how the on-ride looks. Again, the coaster is not the most, the best one, let's say, to showcase a coaster in a game like this. But it's enough for us to talk about, and to talk about the graphics and stuff. I mean, they are also intentionally hiding away the on-ride of flying through mid-air, I guess. And they talk about, just to give you an idea of, the voiceover that they're having, was, there was not that much information in. There was just like, the best information in there is that physics do play a role, which, seems quite obvious. But in a game like this, you might also get the impression that there's nothing with physics going on, because it's all imaginary, and you can do whatever you want, but that's seems not to be the case. And yeah, so here we are back in the station, but I'm gonna swipe all the way back to the very beginning of the coaster build, and I think before we go in, I think this is a very good point to stop. So this point over here gives us a very good idea, and I'm just going to skip some frames forward, hopefully to see that little icon of the banking. I don't know if it's actually getting in here. Let's have a little look. There was somewhere the icon. There you go. This is where the icon of the bank. There you go. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Now, we've got a very nice idea of the coaster, making this hill here with 18 kph. So this is why I can see this is also set in German, which I find very, very interesting. But anyways, this is actually a wonderful indicator of how the coaster builder will work. And again, it's taking a lot of inspiration from the early Roller Coaster Tycoon World coaster builder. And I might make myself a little bit ridiculous over here, but I think at the very beginning there was a fair competition between both coaster builders. I'm not saying both games, because there was never ever a competition between Planet Coaster and Roller Coaster Tycoon World, but the coaster builder was rather solid at the very beginning and had a lot of potential in a Roller Coaster Tycoon World. And I know that a lot of coaster enthusiasts that even nowadays play a lot of, let's say, No Limits 2, they actually preferred the one for many reasons of Roller Coaster Tycoon World, even though then it just kind of fell short after Planko did a lot of adjustments. But the cool bit is that you have different nodes over here. You can see these bubbles right over here and there and so on. It's kind of like if you've played City Skylines in your life, you will know how the node editor works, and this is somewhat how that might work as well. So you get the opportunity to build a rather nice layout real quick, just do whatever you want, and then just go back and edit the nodes. And if realized correctly, which we cannot really judge at this point, but if realized correctly, you get a lot of control over how to quickly shape your coaster in a very organic and nice way. And it might be very much more intuitive, for example, than what we have in Planet Coaster, even though you have like a lot of options with like smoothing and so on. But again, we have to see. I mean, looking at this weird whatever hill over here, which is far away from being realistic, like there's nothing like realistic about this ride at all, but it gives us a good idea that this seems to be pretty powerful. What we can also tell is that the environment is pretty nice as well. It looks very decent. I mean, with the video being so chopped now, it might look a bit weird. Again, it seems to be very much early alpha footage. So you can see there's like, the details on here, and the texture looks pretty flat, but the model of the bridge looks kind of cool. I think it's, it could just be like the park you're building in, but then like a couple of duplicated stones. You can see this rock and this rock are the same, so it might actually be one to put down, because I think this one might be the same as well, and this one has like maybe another one over here, so potentially you can put them down yourself, and these ones might be predefined one, who knows. But zooming a little bit forward, and this is pretty much everything we can tell about the coaster builder. The other frames we'll get are, well, not really helpful. You can see the radius of the turn is like pretty quickly adjusted by dragging this thing over, and again, it's nothing really in particular interesting to see. I would really love to see some other options with like smoothing and banking and making sure that you have the right angle, because you can see this is just like I just want to zoom forward a little bit over here. And let's see, I think there's like a weird cut. Yeah, there was like a cut in between this and this node, and maybe this is because they don't want to show off how that works with like the slopes at this point. Like you can slope the thing, it seems very nicely, but it just kind of created this weird up and down there. And now we come to these wild elements, which they called Inspiratify or something like that. Oh, I forgot the naming, but like there's a wonderful naming for that, which basically says that's not realistic right now, but it's cool, so you're gonna go with this. You decide what you love or not, but maybe the game offers you the possibility to not use these things and stay with what you have, and then you go, which would be fine. But for me personally, I think it kind of brings in a nice little twist if you take that game not maybe too seriously and you want to just build a fun park or something. That could be really cool, because truth to be told, all these rides look to be a little bit over the top, but what we can also see over here, that this seems to be the park we've seen. I'm just going to zoom forward a little bit. I think this is a very nice frame over here. You can definitely tell that this park down here is already built by hand, because you can see that by the rotation here of the path and so on. This is definitely put down by someone, and it's not like predefined, because you can see all the boundaries and curbs and stuff, and this is way too non-organic and way too humanly placed down, as if this is kind of predefined. So that's definitely built by a player or by whoever had his hands or her hands on it. Now what I find also funny is that you just see these kind of bubbles with a shadow in the ground. Like I have no idea why you would cast shadows on this, which is essentially like the preview for the coaster, but that's just like a little detail. I'm just going to keep that forward, and you can see this is like the connection, so it's going to be shot down over here, which is nice, because that's like the ride that they created in the trailer. So yeah, apart from that, it doesn't really tell you much, but this is another point where we need to stop over here. So you can see that this is a very nice spot over here. And now a couple of things I want to talk about, and I think these are really important bits here if you guys are interested in a game like this. Now, first of all, this looks a hell lot like piece by piece building, or at least, not piece by piece, but at least a lot of possibilities by putting down elements. Because you can tell that this tent over here seems to be one element. You've got this fireplace as an element. You've got some chests, like maybe this is like an arrangement of chests over here. There's another one. You've got this well over here, and you've got the exact same well over there. You've got the same chests over here, and like another tent over here. It would make absolutely freaking no sense if this is all kind of pre-built scenery or what, because you know, that just, why would you even do that? It just makes no sense at all. Then you have this queue line, which essentially seems to be like a pretty much like a straightforward queue line. Going back a little bit to the old roller coaster days, down here you can see this is like the archway, as you know, a little bit more like in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and 1 and also 3, I guess, had the same kind of archy thingies over the queue. Not really sure about that. You have got a fence around here, you've got benches, bins and so on. Seem to be thematic for like a western area, you know, all these kind of things. But if we take a closer look down here to the guests, so a couple of things which are really important, because this is the alpha footage in game, it's not a pre-rendered thing, so they look pretty decent, you know. They look kind of a little bit cartoony, but you know, not too much. And what I really love especially is that it almost seems like that this person in the middle is like holding hands with a little girl, and there's like another little girl or boy, I can't really tell from this distance, but that looks like really as if they have like different types of groups and so on going into different rides, which I think is a brilliant thing. It's a little bit unfortunate that the game seems to be on pause right now because you're building, so I would have loved to see them moving. Not sure if we see them moving. But this over here is also very nice. Like, they will have a cut here in a second. There you go. A very clever cut, if I want to say so, because they want to build this through this building, which shows us a very important thing. There seem to be no restrictions on where you can build, like you have no collision, which I personally find very good, because that means we can get creative and close to things, and you never know if you can potentially do your own supports or whatever. But you know, if we see that cat, you can see they have adjusted the nodes. Like if we go back a little bit, you can see the node that they have. Wait, just go back. The node is over here, you know, that's where the node is. And now we've got the cut in a little second. Let me just do a little skippy forward. Boom, there you go. And now the node is over here. So they definitely readjusted the node a little bit later. You can tell it's the exact same frame because we've got the same persons down here to the side, and it seems to be daylight is the same. And, you know, these kind of things just, you know, happen. Unfortunately, there's no movement. And now I've got a few frame issues here and there. But I just want to pause this over here as well. Now, that is a very good establishing shot, you would call that. But this really shows a lot of things, and there are a couple of things I want to point out here. So, first of all, this person seems to be very ridiculous when it comes to building path. But what is this in the middle, guys? Like, these path over here, you know, this kind of heart-shaped one, whatever this is, looks like a pretty normal path thing, almost like, again, Roller Coaster Tycoon World. But when I saw this plaza in the middle here with this whatever fountain, I thought, first of all, okay, maybe that's like one element, but then I thought, no, it's not, because you clearly have a different kind of fence around here. There are like some lanterns, and also if you pay close attention to the lanterns, you can see that there are placed by hand, because that one over here is sloped to the right hand side, so it is accordingly placed so that the thing is facing, let's say, in that direction. This lantern over here, though, is not placed correctly, because that seems to be just copied from this over, because it has the exact same orientation, so that's also facing towards that area. Like if you want to make that like in parallel, you would technically have to put that into this direction, you know, just making sure it's like pointing up there. But you know, that's like very tiny detail, but that gives you an idea that this is definitely built by hand. I'm not really able to tell if that down here is also, it almost looks like as if this is also like a lantern facing in the same direction. So it seems to be not pre-built, which kind of gets me the idea you can build nice plazas, however that would work, but we all know that this is a big demand. And now we come to the buildings. Like if you look at this building to the right hand side in particular, or you look at this building in particular, it potentially, and take this with a huge amount of soul, this could be piece by piece building. Like, and I'm not sure about this building though, because that seems almost to be like a ride, because there's like a queue. But that one, that building over here, most certainly looks like piece by piece, or like blocks or whatever. And maybe this one here to the right hand side the same, like the shop or whatever this is in the front. No idea what exactly that is, but it looks very, very much like piece by piece. Anyhow, we just zoom forward a little bit, and I've got some pixel issues here again. And we skip forward a little bit again. You can see this is like another element where you can jump. Not really sure what this kind of pull down here is. If that's something we have to keep in mind for later. Yeah, not really sure about that. But let me just skip back a little, and hopefully my computer. I don't know why I've got these frame issues here, to be honest. It just looked kind of weird. I think there's not really that much more to say, but yeah, I mean, this building here to the right also looks a lot like piece by piece building. Anyways, let's zoom forward a little bit, and then they go back to the station. I have no idea what that ride is, but that looks certainly very dangerous. Anyways, we just let the coaster be finished, and yeah, you can see this is like the end. And again, I mean, it's an alpha build, and but they did some very clever cuts, you know. They did some very, very clever cuts of things that I would have loved to see. I would have loved to see how this is connected to the station, if there's like kind of an auto connect. It's very clever that they have no UI turned on in this build. Maybe this is also why the coaster is so shitty, because you might potentially need the UI to build a bit more precise. Who knows? Maybe there are some options to smooth and whatnot. We can't tell because there simply is no UI. And the second thing, which is very obvious, is that they did skip away when it comes to building a bit more precise, whether it's been this like incline over here or the you know, this little step down into or through the building. So I think these are in particular things that you would have needed to use the tools a bit more, and this is why they did hide this from us. But anyhows, so now let's have a look onto the coaster. I love this shot, by the way. But truth be told, I really hope that also the engine is alpha. I know we know it's you know, Unreal Engine, so there's a lot to get out of it. So the coaster itself and the shading look great, but the rest of it looks a little bit like old-fashioned, you know. If you like this shot, yeah, graphic-wise it looks decent. Don't get me wrong, it looks decent, but it, you know, it would potentially compete with Planet Coaster. But we are talking about a game which is nearly 6 years old now, so, or like 5 years, but we're talking about the alpha and stuff. We are like, you know, 5.5 years in already, and you know, you definitely have to step up again, you know, again against a game like Planet Coaster. So I really do hope that they can still improve the graphics. Maybe they're running that on lower graphics because of the performance. You never know, but especially in this shot, I kind of get the you know, impression that they have to still work on this a little, you know. I like the coaster train. It's a very unique design. I quite like this. I can't really tell too much from the POV, guys. I'm just gonna, you know, let that run through and, you know, again, look at all the shading and stuff. I think there is still a lot to take out of this engine and make things look a lot better. There are a couple of things which already look pretty dang good, you know, landscape and stuff, the textures, how they blend into each other, the terrain and stuff. That looks all fairly decent already. And I mean, just look at this building in the background. If that's not piece by piece, I don't know what is. I mean, that is just like way too blocky for not being piece by piece. But again, it's just also potentially me dreaming maybe of getting a little bit of a competition here. But yeah, you can see this flying coaster for what it's worth. I don't know, you know, I have not really decided if I like it or not, guys. I really don't. I'm just sitting here and thinking, you know what, it just could be a very neat thing that we have this game as like a competition, or like at least to have a bit of a boost and stuff like, you know, that is very great for the community of coaster building, parks, sims, whatever. But I've not really decided, you know, if it's my kind of thing. In this shot, though, there's a lot to see. Like, there's a lot to see. I didn't see it at the first watch or second or whatever, but I thought later on. So first of all, you can see this open shark mouth, which is kind of a classic. I think if you don't have stuff like that, you're not allowed to build a park sim. I think it almost is like a kind of rule. I have no idea what that is in the background. It almost looked like gondolas or whatever with these poles, but I'm not really sure if it is. You can see a bridge going up here. So like there's a slope going up, so you can see that definitely pathways being able to be built like bridges and stuff, which seems obvious, but you know, think about Jurassic World Evolution, for example. You are not able to build bridges. So yeah, that is very important indeed to have stuff like that. Again, we see a lot of clutter all over the place. We see a lot of trees and stuff, and we see kind of that a lot of trees are in here, and performance, I don't know, just kind of a little idea that you see stuff like that. Over here again, this building gives me even more of an impression that this is piece by piece, because as you can see, oh my god, if we would put like a ruler down, these things are all completely off angle. Like this is higher, it's tilted to the right hand side, it's not placed correctly. Same goes for these, like the distance in between, even if we would count the planks, it's different. The distance between that one and that one is different than between those two. This side has like kind of planks below there, this side hasn't. you know, if I would put my money on it, this is definitely piece by piece, guys. Like, there's a lot of evidence to you know, that could tell that this is piece by piece. Again, this is like a queue line over here. So it seems to be a lot more in this game than what we might have expected from the trailer, which I think is great. You can see this build over here looks very interesting indeed, because they put the coaster in here and there's like a fake rail, and you can see the rail is sticking in here. So the coaster is basically just made through this thing, even though it's not meant to be, or at least the scenery object seems to be not meant to be like that. And again, this is great because that means we have no collision things to worry about, which I guess a lot of people will be happy about. So yeah, not talking about this incline, which is rather ridiculous. Then we've got like this other shot of flying over something. That is something from the POV here. I mean, it's a kind of shoppy ride, but like this little shop here to the left, I really don't like that, but whatever. You know, we can't really tell. At least for what I can tell from this bit of POV, it looks very stiff and very static. But then again, I have no clue what kind of car this is. Maybe the type of car would be very stiff. You always have to see that, like, with how it is in reality. I can't certainly tell this too good at this point. And then we go back in the station, and I think we don't need to talk about that. You know, making coaster go into the station like that is potentially not the most safest way in the world. But there you go, Park Beyond 2022. It's made by Bandai Namco Entertainment and Limbic Entertainment, which is great. Very known persons, people, and so on. They know what they're doing with the game, so you know, that's kind of a good thing. Unreal Engine is a good solution. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, going a bit deeper into the coaster builder, at least from what we can tell from this 2-minute video. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really hope you guys are interested. And again, if you want to show some love, make sure to, you know, hit the like button. Put a comment down below what you think about the coaster builder. Do you like the node-based coaster builder, or would you prefer something like piece by piece as it is in Planet Coaster? Or if you have like a completely different idea, let me know in the comments down below. That helps always to boost the video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and your ongoing support. I talk to you in the next one. Have a good one, and goodbye.